Hello, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody. This is Todd Nilsson with Talk About Your Community, brought to you by Clocktower Advisors. And I am so pleased that you could join me today because I have a very special guest who's going to be on the show in just a minute, Mr. Dani Weinstein from Kaltura. And we're going to be talking a little bit about multilingual communities, some of his experiences with Superforms last week, and he's got some other events to share with us. But it's been about a week since the last stream that I did. I've kind of settled into a once a week pattern with this. I don't know if that'll continue. It just depends on what I can line up. I think a lot of the conferences and speaking events that I've had this month are finally winding up. If you were at any of my events, thank you so much for coming. I'm always eager to continue the conversations from any of those as well. Before I invite Dani into the studio here, I did just want to do a quick plug for next week. Deb Schell, who is a Mighty Networks expert, is going to be coming on talking about paid communities for entrepreneurs and startups. She is a delightful person. We had her scheduled for next Wednesday, November 3rd. Actually, I just switched that. I moved it to Friday the 5th because I had a conflict, and she was kind enough to be willing to move it. So if you see that, you'll see that one of the events that's listed up on the Clocktower page is a canceled event, and the other one is actually the right one, which is setting up paid communities. So please do check it out, RSVP for it, and log in. And then one last bit of homework here, or just a box to check. This is a first attempt at issuing a POAP social token for participation in an event. If you don't know what POAPs are or social tokens, I'm going to drop a link in the chat afterwards so you can learn about them and how you can use them for your community and online events. But it's basically the ability to issue basically a souvenir graphic or badge via the blockchain that you can claim in a wallet. And if you don't know what these are, hit me up. I'm happy to talk to you about it and explain it. I'm also going to share a video about them that was put up by Carmen Tanjab. I think I got that right. Anyway, she just did a terrific video on that this week. It was up in the CMX community. I'll get the link out there as well. But what you can do with this POAP is it's basically a badge you claim, and it can be used for a variety of different things like access to a private chat, participating in a raffle, voting on a topic or an idea. So I'm planning to do more of these just to get a good feel for them and start using them. I am working on 2 communities now that are going to be making use of these anyways. So I thought it was time to get my hands dirty and do some work with them as well. So if you are interested in getting a badge as a participant in this event, all you need to do is drop a comment in the chat here during or on a replay of the stream. I will send you a direct message with a link where you can claim that POAP for yourself, a handy dandy badge. You'll see it's got LinkedIn Live on it and Clocktower Advisors, and it's just a little basic coin. So thank you so much for bearing with me during those announcements. I'm going to go ahead and bring in Dani now. Dani Weinstein, hello, good to see you, sir.
Hi Todd, how you doing? Thanks for having me here today.
I'm doing well, man. It's been a roller coaster couple of weeks with all the events. There was Brazidi, and then I had an event in India, and then there was Super Forum. I know you had an equally busy schedule. It seems to be the season for community events.
Oh, it certainly is, and certainly been fortunate to get on some of the big and smaller stages. So yeah, it's been quite busy, and happy to again continue that ride here with your show today.
Well, I appreciate you agreeing to come on to the show. Always enjoy talking to colleagues in the space, and you and I think have maybe intersected a little bit over the years. But why don't you tell me a little bit about your background? You are a senior director of community and growth at Kaltura.
Correct.
What is Kaltura? Give us a little bit of the commercial of what the origin story is there.
Sure. So, Kaltura, we like to think of ourselves as kind of the operating system for video. Kaltura has been around for quite a long time, almost 15 years. We recently went public this last summer, so now we're trading at KLTR on the NASDAQ. The company had been through, I think, maybe Series F rounds of funding, and really has evolved into, again, a leader in the video space. And so we've got a tremendous footprint in higher education, and almost all of the online learning that's happening in many of the universities in the Americas, in EMEA and APJ, are being powered by Kaltura and fully integrated with many of the more common tools like a Canvas, a Blackboard, and even Zoom and Microsoft Teams. In addition to that, we've got a pretty strong presence in the enterprise space. So, again, webinars, town halls, training. We have, open source APIs. So we actually have quite a number of large logos that are simply, licensing it as a white label. And, internally, they don't even know that it's Kaltura. And more recently, we've now ventured into the virtual event space. So a little more than a year ago, our management realized that we have all the pieces of the puzzle to, create an amazing online event. And we went after, I think it probably was the largest virtual event ever held. It had more than 700,000 attendees last December. But, again, not with an official product, we went after the RFP and actually won it. And that's now led to a whole series of additional business. And so I'll just put a plug in here. We've got in the, Todd shared that on the screen. We're having an event actually next week, a week from Tuesday. So November 9th, mark your calendars. It's a free event. It's called Kaltura Virtually Live. It's really targeted at marketeers, but really it applies to most business leads in companies. And we're going to be showcasing officially our virtual event platform. But we've got, incredible executives from Microsoft, SAP, DocuSign, and many more. So I would encourage you to go out there, sign up. It's free. It'll be a one-day event. So that's kind of Kaltura. My background, I've been in the community world going back to late 2007. I was on the ground floor of the HP social care team. So I spent many years in HP, and the last, a good chunk of my career there was in the support and services organization for consumer products. So PCs, printers, tablets, really, B2C experience, and did a lot of global program management roles around managing those experiences, whether it be driver downloads, email support, chat support, remote control support. And again, in late 2007, we formed this brand new social care team. And we had the charter at that time to build out a branded forum or even community. The organization in the Americas had won a JD Power Award in 2006. And in 2007, they did not renew it because we were missing a branded community. So long and short, we vetted it. At that time, it was really, the show was down. It really was, a power play between Lithium and Jive back in the day. We went with Lithium and had a great run. And so we built out, launched, scaled 7 language communities in over a 15-month window, and had just, explosive growth. So I think when I left in 2014, we were driving more than 9 million customers a month in traffic, so about 100 million a year, and, a couple million members, several hundred super fans. We had won a number of Groundswell Awards in 2012 and 2013. And really, was fortunate because we became Lithium's largest customer fairly quickly, or one of their largest customers, we had access to their best and brightest people. So folks like Brian Oblinger and Joe Cothrell, and kind of, had the fortune to learn from the best. And again, we were able to kind of scale that and turn this operation across those 7 languages. From there, I was recruited by Domo. I spent 5+ years at Domo building out their B2B community. Unfortunately, with COVID, we had a round of layoffs. I got impacted by that, and then I had the opportunity to speak to more than 40 brands in the summer of 2020. And when I met Kaltura, I thought I was going to be a consultant, and in the end, they decided to hire me. So right now, I've gone through the kind of journey of interviewing customers, executive reviews, budgets approved. We had a beta launch that would happen in May. We completed that at the end of September, and now we're fully open at the beginning of October.
What an amazing journey, man. And I feel like we've been kind of tracking along some parallel paths over the years. I definitely was around during the Jive Lithium wars of those late days there. And I know Joe Cottrell well. He and I both lived in the Milwaukee area at the time. Yeah. And actually, he's the guy that got me turned on to Feverbee and got me working with Richard Millington over there. So
awesome. No, Joe's great. In fact, Joe came out to our kickoff for our Domo community at Domopalooza back in 2015. So he did that kind of opening keynote with me. We literally grabbed 40 people from, from the time I joined Domo, I literally had 90 days to tee it up. And, I wasn't even on marketing's radar. So we were literally grabbing people from the hallway and say, let's, join our community. And we literally were getting them signed up and staging. they kicked the tires, and then we flipped the switches to pro. So it was kind of it was a lot of fun.
Amazing. Well, so I always like to ask this for people who've been in the space for a while.
Mhm.
You've seen a lot of changes over the year in the space. Like, what are the kind of the standout trends for you right now with community platforms, community management? Like, what in 2021, where are we at? What does the world strike you as right now?
So right now we're going through, I think, probably our biggest renaissance, and this seems to happen sort of every 10 years. And I think historically, the challenge has always been getting, mind share at the executive level, especially in large companies, about the value community, the investments needed, how to properly scale it, and so on. And historically, a lot of the teams were pretty thin. One person shows or two people shows, and really not set up in many cases for longer term success. I think what's happened, especially with the acceleration of digital with COVID, it's really just moved the needle dramatically. And I think, when I was going through that journey in 2020, the number of positions that were out there was certainly the greatest that I had ever seen. And we're having a lot of great conversation about that. I think so. What we're seeing now is there's really several things. One is, I think, from a community professional perspective, our day is finally coming around. Certainly, it's been a sort of a community effort. So organizations like CMX and Community Roundtable and Community Club are helping to elevate the entire ecosystem. And then beyond that, I think that the tools that are available really are allowing for all kinds of flavors of community to be created. So I think it gives more opportunity for people to kind of, incubate and test and kick the tires on really, okay, well, what should my, who's my community and how do I get there, and develop a strategy around that before they pull the trigger on deciding whether they invest in a full-on enterprise suite or whether they start, in a pilot, and let's say it's a Slack channel, Facebook group, or something else. And then just the wealth of knowledge that's being shared collectively has just been it's really unprecedented. So I mean, shout out to my friends Brian and Eric at the in Before the Lock. I mean, the amount of resources that are out there, even as well as the community club, will allow for many people that are new to the space to really come up to speed and grow as a professional. Now, it doesn't mean that all of our problems are solved. I think at the end of the day, there's still the ongoing challenge of there's a constant. This is how I spend a lot of my time. It's really educating the people that I work with, the management chains, the various teams on where does this fit in. Where's the value add to the business? How do you drive the operation? And it's like anything else. It's you're really developing a startup within a company.
No, absolutely. Really nice overview of some of the trends and things that are happening, and of course the changes keep coming. Right. I mentioned to you before the stream call here. Interesting things afoot with Facebook. Maybe trying to do a little bit of a sidestep of how unpopular they've been lately. But setting up Meta as their company and talking about the metaverse. Regardless of the implications of what that name suggests. Interesting, work that I know that they've been doing with Oculus and trying to set up VR, AR experiences for everyone. And of course, I think there's some suspicion around like what that's going to mean in terms of how trustworthy are they as a company to own those experiences. But the implications for community there are even quite interesting to me. If suddenly community becomes something that's in more of a virtual avatar kind of space, where it's a more game-like experience, how does that impact how we connect with each other and how text is exchanged? And is text a thing with communities anymore? If we suddenly move into that realm.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that they're certainly tapping into something that is sort of, I think, a vision into the future. But at the same time, I think they have a lot of challenges as it relates to their brand and their trustworthiness. And so on. And so I think it's going to take time for them in particular to kind of overcome those particular hurdles. But I don't think it changes the, the direction of what they're trying to expose to, to the market. It'll certainly be interesting to see how that plays as it relates to community. But I think at the end of the day, it still doesn't change the the fact that you're still trying to curate a genuine connection across the people that you're harnessing inside your community. And so the question is how do you do that in this new ecosystem? And is it going to be appealing to the experience for the customers to be part of that? So that's kind of that's kind of the elephant in the room.
Yeah, it raises many questions. We'll just have to see what plays out from it. But I for one will be very interested to see where it goes. I'm sure you will be too. So Dani, what's on your mind right now with Kaltura and building community with that organization? Are there some challenges ahead? I know you talked about doing more virtual events, how that plays in. What for you are the interesting day-to-day problems that you're addressing as a leader in the community space?
Yes, it's really twofold. I mean, I've got sort of a virtual team that I have that works with me. My friends over at Graziti, and so we have sort of an operational team for the day-to-day stuff. But the two big needles that I'm trying to move are, one is education, up the executive chain and across the organization on okay, now that we're fully exposed, how does this play in? How does this add value to to marketing, to sales, and to the education team, and so forth. So that's sort of one. Two, they've recently moved me within, or as part of what we call the customer engagement enablement team. It's really all the education training. And so right now we're working on strategy to build out, okay, the customer journey. I'm brand new to Kaltura. I've been with Kaltura. I'm a seasoned person with Kaltura, and really make sure that it's not just the element of community, but also all of the resources we have to make the users of our platform even better, because we know if we drive usage, it's going to drive demand for the product. So that's sort of one. The second is just some of the traditional things of moving from beta to fully exposed. The promotional campaign, generating awareness. Again, customers, like everybody else, they're busy. They need to become aware of it. Optimizing our SEO, and really curating those emerging super fans in the community. And so I can already see, let's say, people that are in there regularly that are commenting and posting. That's sort of one persona. But then there's also a large number of people that are in there regularly visiting, but they're not commenting. So I'm going to be setting up some sort of micro focus groups with a few people on a call like this to really get their feedback on, okay, what else can we do, from really the customer's perspective on what's preventing them. For example, they're just visiting but not engaging, as an example. Getting an understanding of that. So that's sort of one element. The second is also getting more what we call the Kalturians, the Kaltura employees, engaged in the community and providing value add, but having that right balance so that there's space for the community to to participate in that conversation. We still have some work to do on fine tuning what our gamification branding is going to look like. Right now it's fairly generic. And then we're going to start kicking off some events. So do either community day or do an Ask Me Anything type of event before the end of the year to help again drive awareness, traffic. Right now it's really about bringing more scale to the show. I think some of the core day-to-day stuff we've got a pretty good handle on, as far as making sure things are getting responded to, and if they need our attention, they get our attention. But really making sure that people are having a good onboarding experience, they're welcomed in the community. And so on. And then, of course, as we scale our virtual live event product, I'll have full access to that. And I think we're certainly going to take advantage of that for, the equivalency of user groups. Because I think, having, again, that marriage between, the online and the in real person or in real life type of event is key. And certainly if we're limited to doing that, then we'll certainly take advantage of our own platform. So again, having that, strengthening those connections between the people that are in the community.
That's a lot of activities going on, and it's that relentless outreach to try to figure out how do you get people more engaged, how do you get them tied in. Would you say is it easier these days, or about the same as it was in the early days? I think both. There were two streams you were talking about there. One is sort of communicating value to internal employees and leadership, and the other is engaging people in the platform and getting those who haven't engaged yet to start engaging. I know that's been a constant for me over the years. But are there tools or elements of that have gotten any easier?
So certainly, I think that I think the tools have certainly improved over time, but I think the challenges still remain. And I think every script is different. So the movie script we had with HP was certainly unique, and certainly the one I had with Dung was unique. And I'm certainly finding here that our education vertical, those customers are incredibly connected already in the university ecosystem versus the enterprise side, they're much less so. And so one of the immediate challenges is really how do we get more of the enterprise folks, in strategic accounts more engaged. And again, many of the folks that our teams are dealing with are already, they're B2B professionals. They get fairly busy schedules. They're typically admins of our platform. And so, we're trying to figure out, again, by interviewing them and getting better visuals of their day-to-day, our goal really is to make their lives easier. Again, if they're supporting tens of thousands of users of the video platform at a large enterprise account or a large university, we want to be able to let those end users come into our community and learn on their own as well and consume content instead of sending an email to the admin saying, hey, I'm having trouble with this, or how do I do this? We can kind of offload that chunk of volume and put it in the community. And then the admins really focus on, all right, how do I get, for us, we want to make their lives easier so they can actually onboard more people, they can drive more usage, and that'll be a win-win. So I think regardless of where the tool sets are today, that still remains. And again, it's also about nurturing a relationship with a core set of people. And so that takes time. And I think part of the education side, this is not a today to tomorrow thing. This thing will pay dividends 12 and 24 and 36 months down the road. It doesn't mean, we turn on community now, revenue is going to double next month. It doesn't work that way. But this is about how do you strengthen the transparency, the relationship with our customer base, make sure that we have, they have a place to have their voice and to manage a conversation, and that we can have, manage a dialogue. And my analogy typically is this is, kind of our cafe, our branded cafe, and people can come by and have any conversation about Kaltura, and there'll be fellow customers there, and there'll be people from Kaltura there, and it's all good.
Oh, I love that. That's great. And having those casual conversations, those happy collisions with people to get them bought into what the community is about and the value that it's bringing, so important to be able to do that kind of thing.
Beyond all that, it's budget planning season. So, we put in our numbers and, expecting pretty big growth next year. And so hopefully we'll get what we're asking for. And we're also going to be adding some tools to our toolbox to make, to enhance our search experience, and also, enable the Kaltura videos to play, to be fully embedded in our platform that we use today, because it currently is not. It basically click on the link, it'll take it to a new window. In another month, that'll be solved, and so it'll actually play inside, like YouTube, it'll play inside our community dialogue. And I think we're going to see a pretty big acceleration of engagement.
That's fantastic. So out of curiosity, over the years, have you had executive leaders who have actually gone into the communities that you've run and spent time in there, or even posted?
Occasionally. So, we had a handful of situations at HP where we had maybe a VP or two do that, but I wouldn't say it was a day-to-day thing. And at Domo, probably less so. I think it was more, more. It was much more the hands-on customer-facing folks that were in there on a regular basis.
Yeah, I ask because I always kind of wonder how important it is. I mean, it's certainly important for them to realize what's happening in the community and what's going on there. And it's, in my experience, it's been more the exception than the rule. But it is awfully nice if you have your executive stakeholders that realize the hard work that's going on in that space.
Yeah, and they were certainly aware of the work that was being done. But I do intend to get some of our top executives out there posting, a blog and/or what we call a pitch video about community in the coming months.
Very nice, very nice. So Dani, we're getting a little low on time here, but I wanted to be sure to ask you. You presented last week about multilingual communities in the Super Forums. How did that go? I thought it was a really fun event.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed the event. I felt, the session went really well. We kind of stayed on track as far as time is concerned, but I haven't had a chance to go back and watch the replay. But we had a lot of good interaction, a lot of great questions. And again, it's the whole discussion around how do you scale community, multilingual, and localization. I mean, we could have a whole course on that. And so I was trying to, deliver in 45 minutes, at least what I thought was the most relevant information, but also we left everybody with additional resources. So, I mean, Brian and Erica did a podcast about this, I think episode 44. I was interviewed by Wendy Pease over at the Global Marketing Show back in August. And so those links are actually in the Higher Logic community. So there's really a wealth of resources around that topic. But yeah, it was fun.
Oh, fantastic, man. Yeah, I know. I had a blast at it too. Higher Logic did a really nice event. And I think all of their resources and replays are up there for free for anybody right now. So
yeah,
if you happen to miss it, go out there, check it out, and see all of the embarrassment of riches that's available for people to delve into there. So Donnie, before we go, I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for community managers who are just starting out, and maybe they're a solo act, or maybe they're just getting into the space here a little bit, or alternatively, what advice would you give the younger you, from earlier in your career that would have put them in good stead?
Sure. So again, I think I was very fortunate that we were in a situation we were in as far as having access to some of the top people back in the day at Lithium. Not everybody has that opportunity from day one, so we kind of learned our ABCs early on. But having said that, again, I think there's just in both, the community club, they've got a series of courses right now. I think the podcast that Brian Oblinger and Erica Kuhl are doing has got an unbelievable amount of resources out there. There's some great books, from David Spinks, The Business of Belonging, Kara Melissa Jones's book, Jonah Bacon's book. There's at least half a dozen great books that are out there. So I would simply state that, take the time to invest in yourself and, start learning and consuming those materials. Whether you're, brand new to the space and you're just starting out in that role, you're looking to get into it, I think it's going to help quite a bit. And even for, us seasoned veterans with a few gray hairs, there's always opportunity to learn.
Absolutely. And I know you're very giving of your time to others. And thank you so much for being on the show here today, Donnie. I'm going to put that link up one more time for the event that you guys have coming up here. It's going to be the free virtual event, and it's at corp.kaltura.com, virtually live. Please go and check it out if you're catching this on the replay. And then don't forget to claim your limited edition first ever POAP social token for participating or watching the replay of this event. All you got to do is drop a comment up on the stream, or even if it's passed. I'm limiting the minting of these to just 100, and I took number 1, and Donnie's going to take number 2 on this. But go ahead and grab these. I think it's good to get experience with being able to grab social tokens. This is going to be a thing. You're going to see a lot more of this in the near future. So claim a wallet for yourself. MetaMask is probably the easiest one to get. Get the POAP token, and you'll have your first commemorative for that. I doubt it'll ever be worth anything, but it's just kind of a collectible of experiences and a little bit of fun to have with it as well. So. Donnie, I hope you'll feel free to come back on the show anytime you want to talk about stuff that's going on with Kaltura or whatever's on your mind. I really enjoyed having you as a guest. And
thank you. It's been a pleasure. And yeah, absolutely would love to come back sometime soon. And
awesome.
Again, anyone wants to feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thank you for that. And then are you a celebrator of Halloween? Or
not particularly, but kids have kind of outgrown it, and we'll be around to kind of take care of the neighborhood kids.
That's nice. Well, for anybody that's out there that does celebrate Halloween, have a very happy Halloween. It's one of my favorite holidays of the season. And I will catch everybody next Friday, November 5th, with Deb Shell, talking about paid communities. And until then, be well, take care of yourselves, and I will see you later. See you guys.
Bye, guys.